ladies and gents, welcome to MagzTV's Vlog number 2 on the 18th of the 11th, 2014. I do have a few things I want to cover today, but first the background video for this. This was my first ever battle on the Norway map. This is the day of patch 1.43 release, and I'm the BTD Destroyer. So first things first, yes, I'm still calling it Vlog. The first one of these videos I did, I had a bit of a competition with my subscribers in the comments to come up with a name for this segment. Now the most popular name that came up by far was Mags Magazine. Unfortunately I can't use it. There is actually another YouTube channel called MagzTV. Unlike this one, it is attached to a real life magazine called Mags Magazine, and I just felt that if I used that name I would be asking for a cease and desist letter. So for the moment, Vlog it is. So, on to the more serious stuff. Well, there's been a bit of confusion recently amongst my videos. It seems that a few people are mistaking what particular videos that I make are meant to be. This is a subject that I've sort of covered once before, but at the time I think I only had around 2,000 subscribers. Since I'm on the verge of hitting 8,000 subscribers at the moment, I think it's probably time to go back over it again. When I'm doing War Thunder videos, and I'm doing them on an aircraft, there are three main kinds of video that you will run into on the channel. First impressions, standard battles, and reviews. Now I apply pretty tight rules to myself in exactly how I do each of these video types. So starting with first impressions. A first impressions video on an aircraft will be on an aircraft that I have not flown previously, that is recorded within the first 10 battles of the aircraft, so the 10 free repairs you get access to on the plane when you first put it in a slot, and at no time in those 10 battles am I allowed to unlock any more than the tier 1 upgrades. If I hit the tier 2 upgrades, I'm no longer doing a first impressions video. The plane is more than partially upgraded. 1 and 2 there are pretty self-explanatory, and this is why you will mainly get first impressions only on new aircraft introduced in patches. Every aircraft that is already in the game I've already pretty much flown my 10 free repairs on, so I can't do first impressions on anything that is already in the tree, otherwise I'm breaching my own rules. The third one is the reason why aircraft like the Focke-Wulf 190A4 went straight to a standard video rather than getting a first impressions. The first time I took that plane out, I unlocked all of the tier 1 upgrades and nearly all the tier 2s in a single battle. Actually, I think it only took 2 or 3 battles total to spade the aircraft. Now you might say, what does it matter? Well, it matters in the context of why I created the videos. Before I created this channel, when I was first unlocking aircraft in War Thunder, whenever I was coming up to unlock a new plane that I was interested in, I'd go looking for a YouTube video for it. I wanted to find out, what the plane was. And what I rapidly found is that most players don't mention how long they've been flying the plane for, how many upgrades it has, whether or not it's new, whether or not it's old, whether or not they've spent gold to unlock upgrades for it. It's never mentioned in the videos. As a result, while you're watching that video, you're not sure if you're seeing a plane that is at its maximum combat potential, or if you're seeing a plane that is dead stop. You just don't know. And this is why the first impressions videos exist. The idea behind them is a player that's coming up to unlock a new aircraft, with a quick search will come across a MagzTV, first impressions of the aircraft that he's looking for. You'll be able to see, okay, that's what the plane is stock, that's what I'm about to tip my money into. Okay, yep, I want that plane in my lineup. So he knows to spend the money or not. He can see what the plane is stock. That's why I approach the aircraft as blind as I possibly can. I don't want to know too much about them if I can avoid it. As the more I know about the individual aircraft, the less likely it is that the viewer is going to get a real raw overview of what the plane is capable of in stock format, untainted. Now this does lead into a couple of interesting problems for my first impressions videos, because any tactics that I mention or any performance or numbers that I mention on a plane in a first impressions video is in direct relation to its stock configuration. The longer and more often that you play the aircraft, the more unlocks you get onto it, the more rapidly a lot of what I say in the first impressions videos will become obsolete. As the plane's performance increases with upgrades, the way you fly it will change, and those first impressions advice and tips will no longer be of any use to the player. It is truly for a new player coming into a new plane. Once you've spent enough time in the plane, everything that's in those videos will be, well, obsolete. Now the second video type is of course my most common, my standard battles. Anything that I mention about the planes in those videos is usually in direct relation to what is happening in that battle and what the plane is doing at that time. I tend to not do overviews of performance in these battles. It's all about that one battle that I'm showing. I try and pick battles that do show interesting things that the plane has done, I am fairly picky on the footage that I put up on my channel. I've deleted a lot of very, very good battles because I just found them boring. Basically what I do is I sit back on this end, I watch through the battle before I even start recording commentary on it, and if I'm bored watching the video, then I automatically assume that you are going to be bored trying to view the video, so I just delete it. That battle will never get seen. I don't care if I've got 6 or 7 kills. I have actually had a 7-kill battle that I deleted because watching it back on replay was making me yawn. This is also part of the reason why bombing and ground attack videos are fairly rare on my channel as well. It's not that I don't fly these planes, I fly them quite regularly. As you can see the BTD in the background, this is one of my favourite premiums in the game. I really do love this aircraft. But why flying this battle that you're watching was incredibly exciting. I'd had my blood pumping, I was having a great time flying it. It's not the most exciting thing in the world to watch. It makes for a great background in a vlog, for example, but if I'm going to put a bomber or a ground attacker on a video, actually do a proper video of it, the video would want to be exceptional. It would want to be something really unusual that happened during the course of the battle that, well, to give you an example, my recent B-57A video, I had to go and fight CL-13s in it to actually make that plane interesting to watch. Now, the final of my 3 video types is, of course, my aircraft reviews. Now, the most recent one of those I did was the Nvidia FX, and I'm sure most people who watched it noticed that things were a little bit different with it. I went fairly in depth with the incapabilities of the aircraft, the actual thrust levels of the plane, fully upgraded, various manoeuvres that worked, different speeds and dive speeds that the aircraft would operate at. It was fairly comprehensive. That's the way I like to do my reviews. The reviews is where I finally take the aircraft and everything it can do, and I go over it in fine detail. Now, there is a couple of things with that. The Nvidia FX, the time between the first impressions of that aircraft, so when I first unlocked it and doing the review, was 7 months. I don't rush these things. I have to unlock all the performance modifications for the plane. I generally like to have them spaded, but in some aircraft I'll skip that. For example, the F8 review, I did not have the bomb pylons, I did not have the G-suit. Neither of those really make a difference to the end performance of the plane. All the performance modifications were there and had been applied. Things like bomb pylons only become important for reviewing if the aircraft's primary role is to bomb things, in which case, if I was doing a review on a bomber, I would need to have the payloads unlocked so I can review what each one is capable of doing. Is there a specialised bomb payload for taking out ships or armoured targets? Is there one that's just preferred for general purpose? What is each payload capable of doing, and which ones are the best to use in what situations? Would be very important. When reviewing a fighter, well, bombs are nice to have available as an option, but that's all they are. They're an option. Most people will not equip them. Now, that's the upgrades, but the second thing that's very important for me before I do a review is that my skill must be up to scratch within the plane. I will not do a review on an aircraft that I am not competent or beyond competent in flying. If I cannot reliably achieve a favourable result in an aircraft, even if it is fully upgraded, I will not do a review on the aircraft. There is absolutely no point in me trying to do a review on an aircraft that I have no idea how to use, because anything I say would be completely irrelevant to anybody and is going to cause more damage than anything else. And this is probably the biggest hold-up in actually being able to review various aircraft. There are some aircraft that you can pick up within a few hours because they're so similar to other aircraft that you have flown and mastered in the past. There are other aircraft that are not. The Nvidia F8 took me 7 months to finally get a full grasp on the way it actually operated. It's probably the longest plane that's taken me to get used to actually do the review, but it also flew quite a lot differently to any other aircraft that I'd flown in War Thunder, and the difference in the way you fly it between a stock plane and a fully upgraded plane was also quite significant, so there was a lot of learning to be done around it. As I said, that plane is hard mode War Thunder, and I love it for exactly that reason. So I hope this clarifies what each of the 3 main video types that you're going to encounter on my channel for War Thunder are actually about. The main reason I'm doing this is it's becoming more and more common at the moment for me to receive odd complaints. One of the more recent ones was a person complaining that one of my more recent first impressions videos did not reflect the end performance of the plane when it was fully upgraded. Yeah, that is why it's a first impressions. It's not meant to. I hope it's understood by everyone now. Another thing I do need to cover, now this is not related to the video, this is in relation to people being able to message me in-game. I have had another complaint come in. There's actually been a couple, and most of them have been from misunderstandings. A few players have asked me why they've been able to message me in game and why I'm being such an arrogant prick and not responding to your messages. It's because I'm not receiving them. When I'm recording in War Thunder, because I get a large amount of messages come through and they tend to stack and come down the left hand side of the screen to the point where they actually start blocking out menus and parts of the screen while I'm trying to fly whenever I'm checking my score menus or bringing up the map. I have to activate privacy mode. It's available in the options at the top of your screen. Now, how it works is when I activate privacy mode, you will still see me as being online. You will have no problem talking to me while we are in a match together. All that works perfectly. All privacy mode does is any players that are in game attempting to send me a private message, you will be able to open a communications menu with me to send that message. I will not receive it. Now, these messages are not stored, so when I disable privacy mode when I'm finished recording, your messages will not suddenly pop in on me. They are not received on my end. They just disappear into the nether. I hate this functionality. I would like to see a change done where when I activate privacy mode, the little green icon that says I'm online when you look in your friends listings turns amber or turns to a different color, so you can see, yes, I am online, privacy mode is enabled, you can send me a message, I'm not going to get it. Unfortunately, at the moment, this appears not to be how the system works, and, well, any messages you send me, I may not receive. Now, I don't leave privacy mode on at all times. It's only when I'm recording. So if you want to send me a message, please do. If I have privacy mode disabled, I will respond to the message. Make no mistake, I will shoot you back at least a hey, a thank you, and even if I'm a bit short on time, it will be something small. If I've got nothing but time on my hands, just sit back and have a conversation. I don't really care. It depends on what I'm doing at that moment. If you're not getting a response back at all, it's not that I'm being an arrogant arsehole, I'm recording at the time, so I'm not getting a message at all. Shoot me one again in another half hour, 40 minutes, see what pops up. Sometimes I'll be recording all night, we won't get through. Give it a shot anyway, shoot me a message through. Don't stress if I don't respond, it just means I'm working on the next video, that's all. So that was the two main things that I wanted to go over in this video, so let's flick over to some questions. Now, easily the most popular question that I've had coming in recently is, Mags, where is the Venom video? Well, no first impressions coming on this one, because by my own rules I blew past it too fast. I knocked over the 10 battles very quickly. I am now almost complete on the upgrades for the plane. It just can't be done. There will be a video coming for it soon enough. I was going to try and jump straight to a review, but I am having a little difficulty with a couple of things involving the way the plane flies, specifically around the G-forces the wings can tolerate. It's a plane that likes to snap itself in half very, very easily. As I tend to fly very aggressively in my aircraft, it's a trait that I don't particularly like. However, there will be a video coming soon enough. The only thing I'm holding off for at the moment is to complete the last upgrades on the plane. It will be a fully upgraded video, but it won't be a review. So, the Venom will be coming soon. I wouldn't expect it to be any more than about a week. Second question is another aircraft question. Where is the R2-Y2 videos? Well, the first and second ones are unlocked for me so far. I'm still working on the third one now. You will not be getting a first impressions on just one of the aircraft. I'm actually going to do a first impressions on all three of them at the same time. Shouldn't take me much longer to finish the last one off. As soon as it's unlocked, I'll begin my 10 flyouts and the video will come very shortly after. Third question of the day is actually an older question, and one that I never really addressed. And again, it's a question that was asked by quite a lot of you. Mags, what is your opinion of the new Matchmaker that Gaijin has announced? Now, this one's a hard one, because not a lot of information on that Matchmaker has actually been released. Gaijin did give us a little bit of an overview on how it's approximately going to work, but without actually being able to see some figures and some examples, it's really hard to build an assessment on whether or not it's something that's going to be successful. A few things about what they mentioned I did like. It sounds like what they're going for is going to be a variable BR. I suppose it's the easiest way to describe it. Basically what they mentioned was that a plane that is considered, say a British aircraft that's considered to be Error 4 when fighting the Americans may be considered to be Error 5 when fighting the Japanese. So you'll be able to actually have a balance between individual nations along with individual aircraft. Again, it sounds like the way they're going to try and balance the game is by putting groups of aircraft into blocks and then balancing the blocks against one another. Could it work? Well, yeah. Then again, the BR system could have worked if it was balanced out correctly and the right planes had the right BRs. The new Matchmaker, whether or not it works, it will depend entirely on what aircraft are put into what blocks and how they're balanced against one another. It could be fine, it could be a mess. Am I hopeful? Yes, I am. I look at it this way, it can't get much worse than what we already have. The second part of this question is, what do I think about the mixed battles at Era 5? For those of you who are unaware, in the announcement for the new Matchmaker, they did also announce that Era 5, so Jet Combat, will go Mixed Nation for the moment. It'll only be Eras 1 through 4 that get the new Matchmaker. Honestly, I'm a little concerned with this, but I am fine with it. My major concern is if they go mixed battles, but the BR system is being removed, are they meaning that the entirety of Era 5 is going to go mixed, so P80s can potentially wind up in battles alongside F86 F2s? Or is the BR system going to be left in place for Era 5 matchmaking, and it will just be mixed battles in order to create a more fair combat? If that is the case, if it's the second, perfect, not a problem. If it's the first, people flying low-end jets are going to have a really bad time. Now, why am I perfectly fine with it? Well, Era 5 has always been an area where Gaijin has had the most problems. It's a battle rating area with far too many years of development and jet technology combined into a very small group and a very small BR spread. This is an area where Gaijin has to make some fairly hard choices about what they're going to change in order to try and fix this area. If they want to split this up and get props working right first, and then just make it so jet combat can happen and you can get a battle easily and generally a roughly balanced battle, that's perfectly fine, and the mixed matchmaking will do that. To use the 262 as an example, the 262's BR of 7.7 is too high. It allows it to get access to battles with the F86 Sabre. That's unacceptable for that plane. And it always does wind up in battles with the F86 Sabre. But why? There are other aircraft in mid-tiers. Well, not really. The Americans don't really have any aircraft between 6.7 and about battle rating 8. They've got a massive hole through the centre of their line where there are currently no aircraft. So you're either going to get the 262 tiered down, or you're going to get it tiered up. More people fly the Sabre than they do the F80C. Since the F80C only has a battle rating of 6.7, and Germany only has one jet between its prop fighters and battle rating 7, most of the time the F80Cs are going to be tiered down and the 262 will be tiered up. The British and the Russians both also have aircraft around 7.7. Why don't you fight those? Well, the 262 fights with the Russians now because of the way Era 5 matchmaking has been set up by Gaijin, and why it is true that Britain does have a couple of aircraft, and one of the F4s is very close to the matchmaking of the 262. Nobody flies it. They fly either the short wing or they fly the CGs, which is below it, and it gets tiered down. The downside of mixed matchmaking is the 262 may find itself fighting the 262. The upside of mixed matchmaking is the 262s, both teams, will also include those Meteors, will include the LA-174s, the LA-15s, the other mid-tier jets in the game. Because the numbers are going to be all spread around, it's possible that the 262s will actually be able to start getting down tiers, as the low-level aircraft will be mixed in together as well. It's not going to stop 262s from being able to find themselves in battle against the F-86 Sabre, but it should reduce the chance and increase the chance that pilots flying these planes will be able to get a relatively good, relatively balanced battle out to enjoy themselves in. Another interesting thing that I haven't heard mentioned so far is because they're putting a new matchmaker in from Era 1 all the way to Era 4, but Era 5 is going to mix matchmaking, does that mean that for the short term, jets are going to stop going into battles with props? It does seem logical, because otherwise they've got to work out a way of mixing two matchmakers together, so I'm guessing yes, these planes shouldn't face one another for the moment. Deal with the props and deal with the jets. Basically, I don't have a problem with mixed matchmaking for the short term, as long as it's not permanent. I can understand Gaijin needing to buy themselves some time to fix Era 5. They want to get props going and get them sorted out first. That's where a major problem is. I've said in the past that, honestly, Era 5 has always been a major issue, but it's far scarier that we're having massive matchmaking problems in Era 2 at the moment, because that's turning new players away from the game. Now, take the time, fix the props, get them all organised. We'll derp around and have some mixed nation stupidity at Era 5 for a while. I don't think it's going to be a problem for too many people. When it comes, well, let's face it, in higher levels we're already doing it. The CL is a saber that fights with the MiGs, so we're already having saber versus saber combat. It'll be nice watching the MiGs fight the MiGs a little bit as well. What's going to be even more gratifying is that first battle where you're watching a CL fight a CL. That is just, I want to film that, and I'm just going to put that aside for me. That is just going to be hilarious. And once Gaijin's got around to getting all the props sorted out, come back, fix Error 5. Do whatever the hell you're going to do to it to set the balance up there so we can go back to nation versus nation. I think everyone would be fine with that. Just don't leave it as mixed battles. If you do, after a little while it's going to start pissing us off. So with that done, there is one last thing I'd like to cover. Very recently I posted a World of Tanks video up. There won't be too many of those, but it is a game that I play every now and again, and it will be coming to the channel. There will be some other games coming too. Kerbal Space Program, I am probably going to try and start a series. I'm going to try and not have it interfere with my standard War Thunder content, but it will be a regular thing on the channel in the future. There will be some Elite Dangerous coming in as well as some MechWarrior Online. Again, these are going to be videos that are fairly spread out. Elite Dangerous more because the game is still in beta, it's still going through changes, there are a lot of resets going on. There's only little things to show here and there, cool moments mainly. For MechWarrior Online, it's much the same as World of Tanks. It's a game that I like to play every now and again for a bit of fun, but it's not something that I spend a huge amount of time on. Now, every video that I upload will be clearly marked the first part of the name of the video on what game it is. So War Thunder is marked War Thunder, World of Tanks will be marked World of Tanks, so on and so forth. If the video I post is on a game that you don't particularly like, don't watch it, I won't be heartbroken. To those very special people who sent me messages after the last World of Tanks video, if you find it personally offensive that a bloke that you've never met before in your entire life would dare play, enjoy and create a video on a game that you don't like, and then be so audacious as to upload it to his personal YouTube channel, please, by all means, unsubscribe. I won't be heartbroken. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring this one to an end. Whatever you're playing, I hope you're enjoying playing it. Until next time, fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.
Target destroyed.